Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about being mindful of our suffering. Oftentimes when we engage in a self-care practice or a spiritual practice, or even when we reach out and seek medical help, we're under the impression that if we do so, and we take this magic pill or we do this magic thing, we follow all the rules, we won't suffer anymore. And life will be bliss. There won't be those hard moments. We'll never have those moments where we feel like we're really heavy and we can't make it and the darkness is around us. And this is just not true. And if anything promises you that or says that it will give you that, be skeptical. Because a part of life and a part of existence is that we struggle, is that there will be some suffering, that there will be moments when things are hard, when they're challenging, when we sometimes feel like we're suffocating or falling under. And having your mindful practice doesn't mean that you will never suffer or never struggle. That when something goes awry, you won't have those moments where you feel despair and when you feel sad and when you feel like you're getting down. It also doesn't mean that your body will be perfectly healthy and it will never suffer some kind of illness or injury again. That's not why we're doing this. That's not why we're here, and it's not the purpose that it serves. It's not to give us a perfect life. It's not to make it so that we never struggle or we never suffer. And falling under that illusion can create that kind of hopscotch remedy trend that we see so often, is we get promised this perfect solution and we hop onto that square for a little bit and we try it out and we think, ooh, I'm gonna be perfect and great and everything's gonna be resolved while I'm here and I'm doing this, and if I can just do it right. And then the second we feel a little bit of struggle, or we feel like it's not working, or we have to suffer still, we jump to a new box that promises us the next fix, that promises us that we will find this perfect happiness and never suffering. And then we're there for a while and we try it and we're thinking, this is great. And the hope in us is creating this illusion that, oh, it's going to work and I'm going to arrive and I'm going to find this perfect existence. And then that one doesn't work, so we hop to the next. And the problem is that we're always hoping to arrive. When will I arrive at perfect peace, at perfect happiness, at no suffering? And there really is no final arrival where you don't have to make an effort anymore, where you don't have to work at your consciousness anymore, where you don't have to place your attention and kind of build your awareness in each and every moment. That it is called a practice for a reason, because we are always practicing. And every time that life brings us something new, it's another offering for us to practice even more, for us to deepen even more. And where we get disappointed and where we want to disengage is when we think we should have arrived and the next hard experience hits us. And it comes hard and it hurts and it seems like we're back where we started. And in those moments we say, that's it, this isn't working. I wanted something that would create no suffering in my life. And maybe we turn to something else and we let go. But then we will constantly be chasing the arrival, and we will never arrive anywhere. And the healing process will get chopped in the middle each time. Because what really brings the healing and what really continues the process is that we stay in it. We keep working the awareness, we keep building the consciousness, and we see that the next trial or the next hardship, it doesn't bring us back to the beginning where nothing was okay and we had no practice and we were floundering. It might appear that way and it might feel that way in the moment, like a big, deep struggle. But this time, we have a few more tools. This time, we have a bit more support. This time, we can dive even deeper. And the experience, though it's still challenging, though it still brings up suffering, it will bring us even deeper into our practice. And we will still learn something from it. And we will still expand from it and grow from it. So we're not expecting that through the practice there won't be challenges or we won't come up with our next moment of suffering. What we are trusting is that each time we're building more tools and we dive a little less deep into the world of victim, of suffering, of the deep dark hole that's hard to get out of. And why it does this, so that building process and what it looks like, is that as we're building the practice, when we suffer, the mindful awareness that we bring to that suffering, that we bring to that difficult moment, becomes stronger and stronger. It becomes more and more aware. And it's like this companion that comes alongside us in hard moments. And it does not neutralize or take away the suffering, but it's present with us in it. And it's this little reminder that says the suffering is not your entirety. It's not all that you are, and it's not the only thing in this experience. That it's a part of it. But alongside of it is also this mindfulness, is also this growth opportunity, is also your growing consciousness. And so then we can be with the suffering and we can feel it. We can feel it with compassion, moving towards understanding. And we can still have this little observer outside of it that's our mindful, peaceful presence that says, you will get through this. This too will pass. And if we stay aware through it, we will grow a deeper connection to self and a deeper compassion and connection to the world through it and with it. So it's this comfort. It's like the warm blanket that accompanies you through the dark night. That, without the practice, and that may be our fear of what we remember from before, is it's just the dark night and it's just us there alone and it's dismal and it takes over our whole being, and that suffering is all we can see. So the mindfulness doesn't take away the suffering, but it makes sure that you're not alone in it. Alone being even in your own self, that's not your entire being, is not the suffering. That there is also the light within it. And what that mindfulness does is it comes alongside and it's with you through the suffering, and it reminds you, look beyond. So like mindfulness does in everything, is it creates a little space within us. It creates room from the worry, from the anxiety. It gives us that breath, that step back. And that's what it does in those moments of suffering. It says, step back, remember, widen your perspective. And it takes you just far enough away from the suffering so that you can observe that it's still there, but your view has expanded and you remember there is more than just this. There is more than this difficulty. And in that space that the mindfulness has created, we start to be able to direct our attention towards the conditions of happiness that are still here, even in the suffering. They're still there. And what this does is, yes, the suffering is still there, we're still experiencing it, but our view and our whole world is not just the suffering. It's also wider, and we're also seeing the conditions of happiness. And then those are what help us to heal quicker, because it reminds our heart that there's more to this than just the suffering. And we start seeing the flowers that come from that compost, and they start lighting up our world. And as we move through the suffering, it becomes easier and easier to transition back towards the conditions of happiness, towards the light, towards the good. And in that way, we move through the suffering into the healing, the growth, and the expansion. And so no, mindfulness does not mean that you will never suffer, that things will never be hard, that you'll never see things as a trial again. It just means that you don't face them alone, only buried in darkness. It means you are accompanied by the light, and you are accompanied by the remembering that it's so much more than this one experience of suffering. So I invite you this week to take a step back. Remember, there will be suffering, but in that space that you find, and with the accompaniment of your mindful awareness, find the flowers of good that are the conditions of happiness always present in your life. If you enjoy these little talks and would like to join us for a group session or individual coaching, you can find us at newleafmindfulness.com. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and share. I hope to see you all very soon.